All right, Sim fans, so arriving from us, from our good friends at MOZA, of course we did the interview with them at Flight Sim Expo 2025 in Providence. Do check out that video, but we finally got the base unit, and I've actually got the MFY yoke handle and the clamps, the table clamps for this base unit to hook it up to your desk to keep it from moving. Of course, this will mount to a custom cockpit setup for those of you that are lucky enough to have that, but most of us will have a desk. And there are clamps, I'll show that here in a minute. I thought we'd do an unboxing of this AY210 force feedback base as a premium simulation setup for those of you that want force feedback. So let's go ahead and open this up. And so it comes well packaged. Now the first one they sent via UPS, and it was in bad shape, and it was nothing that MOZA did. It was more what UPS did. It was like all wet, and I don't even understand why the packaging was all wet. But I'll show, that was for the yoke itself, the handle. But they decided to ship this one. I let them know how bad a shape it came in as. The handle, not this one, the handle, they decided to send this one by FedEx, which I think was a good call. So what I do like about the MOZA set, we're gonna see this as we pull this out. Look at this, they even put the hard plastic edges on it. Now that is impressive to me. This is well packaged. They have that just so it doesn't damage even the box. And many of you know I'm very anal about packaging. If I get a product and you spend, like this thing is $800, and you spend $800 on something, you want FedEx or UPS to handle it well, and a lot of times they don't. Although this time FedEx did handle it well. So it came with plastic parts all around the box for when it was packaged. But there you can see it. Nice job, MOZA. They get on the base unit, they get an A+ for their packaging. As you can see here, I love the packaging. It actually has the display of the yoke. Now this shows the handle. We got that separately. That does come separate. I think that's $150 US. This is just the base unit here. So just switch it around here. This is what you get. It's the base unit. Of course, it's got the landing gear handle. It's got a lot of switches for like your fuel pump, your battery. A little bit like some competitors, but a lot better construction. It's all metal. There's maybe some plastic pieces. We're gonna check that out. This does have a 9 Nm roll torque, 210 N push and pull force, and 150 millimeter travel distance. That will do a full review. The build quality is all aluminum construction with a quick release mechanism and a sturdy 8 kilogram chassis. Control position includes a 15-bit magnetic encoder, 1000 hertz USB refresh rate, and a dual servo motors for responsive input, both for your yoke back and forth to do the ailerons, and of course your elevator back and forth. Okay, so we're just gonna, they got some tape here. We'll just cut that down and throw that over there. And as usual, you got a lot of good padding. And I love it that these manufacturers are doing such a good job on the padding. All right, here we go. We got it out of the box. Nice, good padding. Again, A+ for the packaging for MOZA. Excellent packaging. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so we've got our manual, not too much to it. This is actually a Type B, I think that is, along with the power cable. Let's go ahead and pull it out of here. It is heavy, friends. This big honking thing is your power supply. So your power brick here, and that'll plug in, almost looks like it's gonna plug into your graphics card. So you got the base unit. What I like is this is interchangeable. As we had talked about, that has like the different MFY yokes, and we'll show that on there. As we can see here, we got a nav switch. All of these are nice and, oh, that feels good. Like the beacon on, off, strobe. Of course, you can map these to anything you want in Flight Simulator, your battery, but listen to the sound. These are a bit rubberized, these switches here. And I imagine that this you can switch back and forth to adjust what these switches do. I don't know. I got to check that out and see what that mode is. Your flap up and down, of course your gear up and down. This thing weighs, I believe, about 18 pounds or 17, 18 pounds. So it is heavy, all metal construction, solid. So we're gonna hook up the AY210 yoke and then see what that looks like. This is the yoke. This will interchange, but this will add on to there. So this is additional $150 to put on here. They do have one that's coming, as you saw in our interview with MOZA at Flight Sim Expo, that has an LCD panel in that. You might notice the boxing. This was shipped by UPS, and so MOZA did a good job, but they shipped to me. They shipped this at FedEx because UPS sent this and it was all drenched. The box, there was an outside box, so MOZA did a good job of shipping it, but it was like the box was completely drenched. So I don't know, it didn't rain here or anything, so I don't know what happened with UPS, but you can see it's deformed here because of the water soaking in and the box was crushed. Not MOZA's fault, but fortunately, MOZA actually did a good job of packaging this. So we'll do an unboxing of the MFY yoke handle. As you can see, it came intact. And so I had already checked it when I got it because of the box being wet. I wanted to make sure that the yoke itself was intact. And of course, here you've got the cover they protected here because it's gonna go on there. So show how that attaches. But they do, again, I'd give MOZA for packaging and boxing, definitely give them an A+. For that, I give UPS an F. For shipping, they don't do a very good job. They don't really take care of the products. FedEx did a great job in shipping this, but MOZA, thankfully, they give you a lot of padding, as you can see here, to protect the units, because they know the shippers aren't always the greatest. Okay, so MOZA, being the great folks they are, they did send the yoke-based table clamps to us, so we could check this out with the base unit. So the Y210 yoke base, a lot of us just have desks, right, or tables. We need to clamp this down. We don't have like a full sim setup. Well, some of us do. Some of you that are out there follow, I know you have custom cockpits, which is awesome. Most of us don't. So MOZA was good enough to send us these. And again, like everything MOZA, they come packaged very nice. I mean, they are solid aluminum steel. There's a plastic turn cap here. So these are actually what I like about it on the full inside. Now this is some nice design work. This is rubberized, which actually has a texture to do a better grip, but this isn't gonna scratch your desk or your table because they had enough sense to make those rubberized. So on the inside and even on the back, that's all rubberized, if you can see that there. And it looks like there's spacers too that come with these. So if you have a very narrow desk or whatever, there are spacers here that come with it. I believe that's what those are.
Okay, Sim fans, let's talk about the features and pricing of the MOZA AY210 and MFY Yoke. Okay, here's the good news, friends. You can get the entire setup, the kit, the bundle. That includes the AY210, that's the base force feedback unit, and the MFY Yoke right now for $848 US. Now, when this first came out, you had to actually spend $1,000 just for the base unit itself, and then the yoke was another $150 on top of it. So right now, you can see that you get quite a savings if you get the bundle. Now let's talk about the force feedback system of the AY210 base unit. As you can see here, it has a dual servo motor, and I'll tell you what, that actually feels really good and has a lot of power to it. As you can see, up to 9 Newton meters of torque output, up to 210 N of pitch force. It also has real-time aerodynamic force simulation along with a dynamic response to speed, trim, and turbulence, which does make a huge difference when you're flying. There's also no centering spring. I really like this about this unit. It has true force feedback control loading, which makes an amazing difference for those of you that have had similar or other types of products that have force feedback. Okay, let's talk about the feel of this thing. Now, it does have realistic control force changes with airspeed, which is true with any kind of aircraft that you're flying, which means increased resistance at high loads and low speed flight, and then lighten controls at higher speeds. Also, what it has is a simulated stall, buffet, and turbulence feedback, which is actually pretty crazy in terms of like if you've done real flying before, that it can do that. And it also has a direct response to aircraft flight model and telemetry. Now, that's something that you actually want to keep in mind is you're going to have the force feedback is going to be basically reliant on how the developer of the aircraft that you're flying has that data set for the information to be put to the force feedback to give you that various buffet and stall or the direct response for any aircraft. And that is important to note because it will depend on the aircraft you're flying on what your experience will be for the force feedback. All right, let's talk about the control range and precision of this thing. It has an amazing 150 millimeter pitch travel range. Lot of range to this thing. And it also has an amazing plus or minus 90 degree roll rotation range. Very high resolution magnetic encoder, and it does have very smooth and fine control input for precise flying. You're going to notice this when you're on approach and you're trimming this thing out, and it just has an amazing feel. Okay, let's talk about the amazing build quality of this thing. Now, it's got a reinforced metal chassis construction. This thing is absolutely amazing. When you get it and you feel the box and the weight, you're going to be amazed. Like I said, it's about 18 pounds. This also has a high rigidity base design, minimal flex, very solid aircraft style ergonomic yoke design for the MFY. It does feel that part is actually pure plastic, but it does feel really good. In fact, it might be carbon fiber, but I think it's plastic. Whatever it is, it does feel pretty dang good. And the design is for long-term simming. You can even use it for training. All right, let's talk about the MFY yoke controls themselves. Now, this thing has an amazing up to 34 programmable inputs. It also has dual Hall effect mini joysticks for your left and right thumbs. It has multiple hat switches and triggers, fully customizable button mapping. Of course, that's going to depend on the simulator you're in, and as well as access and function assignment support. All right, so let's talk about the software and compatibility for this thing. Now, what you'll use to interface with your simulators is something called MOZA Cockpit Software Control Center. And what you can do is you can adjust all your force feedback in tuning, including your strength, your damping, inertia, and many, many more things. In fact, you can even share profiles, as it says, aircraft profile customization. I actually have some people that have given me profiles. I've shared profiles myself. And so it also has native Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, 2020, X-Plane 12, and of course, DCS. And the telemetry-based force feedback does not require any additional plugins. Again, the bridge software is going to be that MOZA cockpit software, and you can actually launch Microsoft Flight Simulator, DCS, and other simulators right from that cockpit software if you choose. All right, let's talk about the hardware features. Now, this thing has a quick-release yoke system, so you can interchange the different yokes. In fact, MOZA has a LCD panel yoke that's coming out, so it's modular. You can swap different yokes in and out. And again, this thing is all aluminum mechanical components. It's heavy duty. It has a stable base mounting system. Again, it comes with, if you get the kit or the bundle, it comes with the desktop clamps, and the whole thing comes ready to come out of the box, as you saw earlier in the video, ready to go. Now let's talk about some of the immersion features, which I love about this yoke. I'm telling you, this force feedback base and yoke is great. It has ground roll vibration effects. When you're on landing or you're taking off, you can actually feel that ground roll. And it has little, what I like to call it, micro vibrations in the yoke. You can feel it. Engine vibration feedback, aerodynamic loading feel through the controls. Again, you're going to have to trim this thing out. If you want to relieve your back force when you're taking off, when you're landing, you are going to actually have to use the trim wheel like you do in real life. Fully physical aircraft resistance in the simulation. And again, like when you pull the landing lever up or the landing gear, you are going to feel the gear come up or extend. You're going to also feel the flaps as you pull the flaps up or you extend them. You're going to feel that again. And like that, what I like to refer as micro vibrations in force feedback, you're going to feel that along with the regular force feedback as you're flying your aircraft. Great effect. Okay, so who are the target users or the use cases for this setup? Now, if you're a serious flight simulator enthusiast, you are definitely going to want to pick this one up. It's great for general aviation and airliner builds, and so you can use it for that. And of course, training-focused sim environments, you can use this for training. And then users wanting real control loading versus spring yokes. Again, this thing is going to be so much better for those of you that are used to like spring yokes, kind of like the some of them that are out there, like the Alpha Flight Controls and other things that are all spring loaded. This is ultimately next level, friends. It is absolutely fantastic. Okay, I can tell you, I am a real pilot, and I'm going to say this thing does feel closer to that level of realism that you're looking for. Okay, Sim fans, that's it for now. If you did like the video, please remember to smash that thumbs up button. Do a like, please subscribe, and get ready for some more content. As always, we'll be doing 2 live streams per week, typically a lot of software, hardware reviews, and tips and tricks, and news, and a lot more. So friends, until next time, take care of yourself, stay safe, and of course, blue skies. We'll see you soon.